Hey everyone, what's up? Today we're doing something a little bit different. I've got this Linksys WRT310N V2 wireless gigabit router right here, and today we're gonna deep dive, really deep. We're gonna deep dive this shit, and I'll break down the specs, performance, history, and even tear it open to see what's inside. Plus, we'll compare it to what typical ISP routers were offering back in its prime. So if you're into tech or just curious about old school networking gear, please stick around. Alright, so removing the screws, we can see a clean internal layout. There's a Broadcom SoC. Let me just zoom it in so you guys can see there. Right there. I assume this is probably the flash memory. This is where the router's software lives, and it's like the brain's permanent notebook. This is the RAM right here, as you can see. This right here, the one that it looks like a small metal shielded box right here. That's the wireless radio module, and what it does, it converts data from the router into radio signals that your device can pick up, and vice versa. Basically, it's what makes Wi-Fi Wi-Fi. And sometimes it has a sticker with a module number or FCC info, but I guess it doesn't in this case, and it's connected to antennas, as you can see. And over here is the CPU, Central Processing Unit. And what it does is it's basically the brain of the router. It handles all the data processing, like routing traffic between devices, managing Wi-Fi signals, and running the firmware. Basically, everything goes through the CPU. And it usually looks like a bigger black chip on a circuit board, or sometimes a square rectangle. But in this case, it's under this heatsink, so we can't see it. And it's often near the center of the board, or near. And here it's near the center of the board. The Broadcom SoC and the CPU are both on the center of the board. So, alright, and these right here are electrolytic capacitors, and what they do is that they store and smooth electrical energy, and basically they help regulate voltage to the CPU and other components so the router runs stable and doesn't crash. You can think of them as like little shock absorbers for electricity, and what they look like, as you can see here, they're chunky cylinders, and they're usually black, gray, or blue with silver tops. And they have numbers and letters printed on them on the side, showing their voltage and capacitance, as you can see here. And on the WRT310N V2, they're near the CPU. As you can see, they're beside the CPU, grouped together. Alright, now that we've broken down the hardware, let me just tell it to you in point form. Okay, so CPU, RAM, wireless chipset, antennas, and in terms of features, it had QoS, quality of service, for traffic prioritization, dynamic DNS, and could even be flashed with custom firmware like DD-WRT for advanced features. Basically, if you were tech savvy, you could just squeeze a lot more out of it than a standard ISP router. So how did it actually perform? Well, for its prime in 2009, it was a solid range option. Wired performance was a strong thanks to the gigabit Ethernet ports, and wireless could hit like 300 Mbps on the 2.4 gigahertz band using 40 megahertz channels. Compared to ISP routers from Bell or Rogers at the time, this router often had better stability, speed, range, but only if you set it up correctly, obviously. ISP routers were convenient for plug and play, but but usually slower and more limited in features. So technically, if you were comfortable tinkering, this Linksys router could outperform the stock ISP gear. However, it wasn't top of the line. High-end routers like Linksys WRT310N or some Netgear N series routers were faster, had better coverage, or offered dual band support. So in simple terms, mid-tier solid for its era, but not a flagship, basically. Now, history. Linksys was acquired by Cisco in 2003, and the WRT series became known for being reliable and hackable. The WRT310N V2 was an update to the original WRT310N. It improved hardware performance a bit and included features that weren't standard on ISP routers. Back then, home Wi-Fi was just starting to move from 802.11g to 802.11n. So this router helped users get faster speeds and better coverage without breaking the bank. And its main competitors were other Linksys routers like Netgear N series routers and higher end Belkin and D-Link models. So, was this router actually good in its day? Yeah. Better than most ISP provided routers like Bell or Rogers for anyone willing to set it up properly. Not the fastest or most powerful, but reliable and solid for tech-savvy users. Its modding potential was a huge bonus. Fast forward to today, and obviously it's outdated, single band only, low RAM, low flash, and wireless performance can't compare to modern Wi-Fi 6 routers. But it's still a fun piece of tech history, especially if you're into tech tinkering or making videos like mine. So, that's it for Linksys WRT310N V2, a mid-range reliable router from 2009 that could beat ISP routers if you knew what you were doing, had decent hardware, and even allowed for custom firmware for extra features. So, if you like this video, make sure to hit a like, subscribe, and comment if you want me to do more tech teardown videos on old school routers or other hardware. Sorry for the background noise. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.